The King's Avatar, Chapter 1398. This Feeling. Audio source, wushaaworldaudiobook.com. Chapter 1398. This Feeling. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. It had already been a year and a half since the new level 75 skills had been implemented. They were no longer in the experimental stage of last season. By now, the pro players had already completely mastered these skills. The 4 level 75 Blade Master skills: Falling Blossom Form, Meteor Form, Piercing Form and Curving Wind Form had already become core skills in their offensives, influencing the entire system of their class playstyles. The level 75 mass update had given Happy many opportunities. For example, all those materials won in the battle for level 75 wild bosses, using orange equipment from the new update to close the gap in equipment quality between them, an excellent era. However, for Yishu as an individual, the level 75 mass update was a disadvantage. Yishu was known as the Glory Textbook, a master of all the classes. His experience was incomparably comprehensive. However, the update naturally would influence Glory's metagame. In a time like this, if one wanted to continue being a master of all, then they would need to carry out far more and far deeper research on the new material than others. Yishu had never gone out of his way to achieve this. His title was from the accumulation of his experience and skill throughout all these years, naturally allowing him to achieve this title. This had to do with a lot of factors, including how he was a part of the very first batch of Glory players, how he was always at the head of the development of techniques and styles in Glory, and how Glory had stopped at level 70 for so long. The level 75 update unbalanced this situation. Although with Yishu's experience and knowledge he could easily come up with all sorts of ideas upon seeing the new level 75 skills, he hadn't looked into it like pro players would with their preferred class. So, when this mass update occurred, a textbook like Yishu would need some time to patch for the update. That unmatchable master of all would naturally crack a little during these patches. However, this actually existed for all pro players. In building and reffing their new combat system, each person would be met with all sorts of accidents and mistakes on the field. This was because each person had to update their own glory schema, and this progress might not always be the same for each person, especially since players prioritize their own classes. As for the other classes, they merely had to observe the results of the research of others. In the earliest times, all the experts would gather to discuss all manner of things, and they would manage to bring a scientific air to the game. Since Yishu had many creative and foundational ideas and achievements in all the classes, his textbook title was set from then on. However, as the Glory Pro scene developed into the competitive scene there was less and less of a chance for these top players of Glory to sit down and simply chat about the update. In these times, most people would prefer that what they managed to find out would never be known by any other, forever stay a secret weapon for the field. Everything had become information that, if used well, could be the code need to claim victory. This competition had Glory's technique development growing ever the fiercer and more varied. In the past, all the experts would come together to discuss, select, experiment, and come up with rather unified answers. However, everyone walked their own path now, and tested each other's hypothesis in real battle. In the end, the techniques that resulted from this varied. As Blade Masters, Huang Shaoshan's use of the level 75 skills would be different from Tiny Herb's Lu Cob, or Samsara's Du Ming, or 301 Degrees Gaoji. Everyone had their own ideas and techniques. A standardized path slowly ceased to exist. Under these circumstances, it was naturally far harder to be a master of all classes. Though Yishu may not have aimed to and pursued such an advantage, under these circumstances, being a master of all classes didn't yield as much benefit as it could have, especially with the level 75 skills morphing the entire system of skills. Now, what he was facing was a class that had experienced a relatively large shift in the paradigm due to a hole for level 75 sword forms being added. In addition, his opponent was the one with the title of Sword Saint. Even though Yishu wouldn't neglect to keep an eye on Huang Shaoshan, wouldn't be completely clueless as to how he used the 4 sword forms, but in the end, knowing was different from experiencing it firsthand. What do you think? This feeling's not bad, huh? After Meteor form brought troubling rain past Lord Grimm, drawing forth a stream of blood, he immediately turned. Huang Shaoshan even took the time to type out a sentence as he did this, and then, Immortal guides the way. If this stab attack with a powerful blowback effect was used in a combo of attacks and blew its target too far, then it would naturally cause the combo to break. However, at this time, Troubling Rain had already used Meteor form to switch positions with Lord Grimm. This attack blew Lord Grimm back, but soon enough, Lord Grimm slammed into the meter-tall mud wall. Instead of being sent out too far, the powerful blowback effect slammed Lord Grimm into the wall, dealing another round of damage as well as a stun. Troubling Rain's offensive continued. However, the audience was still pondering over what Huang Shaoshan had meant by what he typed just now. This feeling. What feeling? Pan Lin wondered aloud. Li Yibo wasn't sure either. Shockingly enough, something Huang Shaoshan had typed had managed to elicit everyone's deep contemplation. What a rare sight. Usually, everyone would be doing their utmost to try and ignore everything that they typed into the chat. However, in this match, against a strong opponent like Yishu, Huang Shaoshan didn't have much energy to spare on flooding the chat. Under such a circumstance, everyone believed that Huang Shaoshan would only spare energy on typing something truly meaningful, and not waste it on bullshit like usual. What feeling? The feeling of being suppressed. Huang Shaoshan was probably mocking Yishu, taking revenge for the 2 that were wiped out by Yishu, right? That was what most people thought. The only ones who could truly understand the essence of the trash talk that was compressed into this one sentence was Blue Rain and Happy's players. He's probably talking about the slight slip in rhythm due to an unfamiliarity with the new system, right? Blue Rain's Yuanzu and Happy's Fang Rui practically gave the explanation for Huang Shaoshan's this feeling, simultaneously. It's definitely payback. Fang Rui continued with certainty. Because everyone got bullied pretty badly by Yishu's unspecialized. That's right. In regards to having trouble adapting, how could the changes brought on by the level 75 skills compare to Yishu bringing back a completely discarded ancient playstyle? To everyone, that was truly a completely unfamiliar system. No experience, no ideas, no one had Yishu's comprehensive knowledge either. For the unspecialized Lord Grimm, from the original discovery, to officially engaging in the pro scene, it had been 2 years if you're rounded up. However, this unfamiliarity had yet to disappear. No matter who was met with the unspecialized Lord Grimm, they were overwhelmed. 37 consecutive victories in the individual competitions, then wiping out 2 people at the very beginning of the playoffs. This intimidating record of Yishu's had at least some ties with the advantages that his unspecialized class brought him. But now, Huang Shaoshan was using this unfamiliarity against Yishu, so his triumphant jeer was understandable. Troubling Rain had Lord Grimm completely pinned on that meter-tall wall. What Yishu had originally used to conceal himself was now exactly what was cutting off his escape. Sword light splattered blood onto the wall again and again, slowly dyeing it crimson. Yishu's defeat of his two previous opponents meant that he had already beautifully accomplished his mission in this group arena. Even if he was killed by Huang Shaoshan here, it wouldn't matter. But they weren't satisfied with just that. None of Happy's members were satisfied. Maybe they were too greedy, but just seeing Yishu on the field, they felt that he wouldn't be defeated without doing something shocking. Losing was normal, but being completely suppressed like Song Xiao, like Lu Hanwen. Even if the opponent was Huang Shaoshan, it was completely incomprehensible to Happy's members. Impossible. Happy's players thought. WuxRWorldAudio.com. This feeling in their hearts was far more intense than even the most loyal fans of Happy. The support of the fans was sometimes completely irrational, blinded by emotions. But they weren't like that. Happy's members were clear-headed, and yet this sharp feeling came from their utmost confidence in Yishu. How could that guy, who started from nothing, who took an internet cafe team through the vicious competition of the Challengers League into the cruelest stage of glory, the playoffs, be suppressed like this? This was unacceptable. Stop pretending. Hurry up and use your ace. Fang Rui suddenly cupped his hands around his mouth and roared at the stage. Yishu couldn't hear his voice. The two characters fighting in the projection wouldn't be able to react at all. Instead, it was Blue Rain's members on the other bench that heard him. Ace. What ace? Quote. They wondered aloud, nervously watching the match. What ace does he have? Chen Guo also asked nervously. How the hell would I know? Either way, he definitely has one. Fang Rui replied. Definitely. Su Mucheng determinedly expressed her support. Then hurry up. Wei Chen slapped his leg. He's going to use it soon, right? Tang Ro said. What will it be? The others all wondered in eager anticipation. Though they had no idea what it was, they were certain it existed. Happy's members seemed almost like a bunch of cult members, all blindly believing. Die. Quote. On the field, Huang Shaoshan once again sent a message. By now, Lord Grimm only had 7% of his health left, and this message was almost like a death sentence. Whoosh. But then, the myriad manifestations umbrella suddenly opened. The sword light that Troubling Rain had gathered, preparing to unleash the last strike of formless phantom blade, hit the surface of the umbrella. Not good. Huang Shaoshan felt his heart leap. If it was just holding up a shield trying to endure the hit, he wouldn't be so nervous, but the myriad manifestations umbrella was so damn massive when opened. Lord Grimm was hidden behind it, and Yishu was definitely trying to play some sort of trick. Not saying the right thing at the right time is your greatest flaw. Yishu's message popped up on the screen. Did he leave an opening by typing that one word? Huang Shaoshan subconsciously wondered. If Yishu had the time to chat with him, then the other had probably already prepared his trick. Experience, awareness, everything sparked and burned. Huang Shaoshan resolutely cancelled Formless Phantom Blade. Sword's Divine Judgment. The Blade Master Awakening Skill. Activate. End chapter. The King's Avatar. Chapter 1399. A Bite Back. Audio source, WuxRWorldAudiobook.com. Chapter 1399. A Bite Back. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. Sword's Divine Judgment, the Blade Master Awakening Skill. The user's attack speed and attack power would increase sharply, and at the moment of execution, sword chi would fly out in a fairly large 360-degree circle. Huang Shaoshan's Troubling Rain suddenly used this skill as a defensive option rather than an offensive option. The sword chi swept up the surrounding earth, an attack as defense, and without any blind spots either. When Yishu had Lord Grimm hid behind his myriad manifestations umbrella, Huang Shaoshan had guessed that there was an 80% chance that Lord Grimm would try to close the distance with a movement skill. But whether it was a frontal charge or a shadow clone technique to flicker behind him, his sword's divine judgment covered all possible options. The instant he used this skill, Huang Shaoshan fixed his gaze onto Lord Grimm. He wanted to see what sort of tricks Yi Zhu had planned on using. The sword chi circled around Troubling Rain as he turned slightly to the right. Huang Shaoshan thought it was more likely that Yi Zhu would have Lord Grimm use a shadow clone technique or a teleport to attack him directly from behind. This was a technique Yi Zhu frequently used. In critical moments, players would always subconsciously seek comfort and choose the option they were most familiar with. But no, the spectators could see better than Huang Shaoshan. Lord Grimm, who was hiding behind his myriad manifestations umbrella, didn't see the seals required for a shadow clone technique nor the flow of mana for a teleport. Lord Grimm simply kept the umbrella in its shield form to protect against incoming strikes and then stepped to the right diagonally. It was a very simple movement, one even a normal player or even someone didn't know how to play Glory could do. However, it caught Huang Shaoshan off guard. His Troubling Rain turned right. Lord Grimm stepped to the right. Both sides moved to the right from their perspective, and as a result, they happened to move in opposite directions. In that instant, Lord Grimm suddenly disappeared from Huang Shaoshan's view through just this simple step to the right. Any player could get their character to take a step to the right, but they definitely wouldn't be able to make the prediction and calculations required to achieve such a precise outcome. The distance, the position, the angle, the timing, the speed, etc. If any one part was slightly off, the vanishing effect would not happen. It looked to be a simple step, but the skill required to pull it off was the accumulation of 10 years of effort. Huang Shaoshan instantly recognized that the situation wasn't good. Troubling Rain immediately snapped back to where Lord Grimm had still been in his sights, but now, Lord Grimm was directly in front of him. Even though Troubling Rain had swung his sword as he turned around, Lord Grimm's attack came faster. After all, his movement skills were attack skills to begin with. The blood that filled the air was in part due to his own fault. Fuck. Huang Shaoshan was extremely annoyed. Despite his skill, he couldn't figure out where he had gone wrong. Was using Sword's divine judgment a mistake? Or was it because I was too confident Yi Zhu would move behind me? These all seemed to be reasons, but also weren't. And this sort of feeling was common when playing against Yi Zhu. You had no idea where he saw through you. It was truly the most disgusting feeling possible. Could you at least let me know where I made a mistake? Even Huang Shaoshan felt helpless and discouraged at this feeling. It was terrible for one's morale and fighting spirit. Don't be too arrogant. Huang Shaoshan typed in chat. Rather than trash-talking his opponent, it was more of a reminder to himself. Many people knew that Huang Shaoshan's famed trash talk was often a way for him to focus. Huang Shaoshan had absolute confidence in winning. He had originally been crushing Yi Zhu in every area, yet Yi Zhu had been able to find an opening, a layered strike to both his technique and his mind. So at this moment, Huang Shaoshan need to remind himself not to become lax. He need to continue to focus and maintain his calm. It was just a tiny bite back. All I need to do is keep steady. Huang Shaoshan's message made him appear flustered and exasperated, but in reality, he was reminding himself to not be like that. He handled the situation very maturely and calmly. He successfully suppressed his urges, and this was the willpower of a true assassin, of Glory's #1 opportunist. Even Yi Zhu wanted to praise him. At this moment, calmly resetting the fight was far more reliable than urgently trying to take back the upper hand. The opportunity Yi Zhu had obtained after machine-like calculations had been calmly dissolved by Huang Shaoshan. I thought I'd be able to take away at least a quarter of your health. Forget it, it's my loss. Yi Zhu sighed in the chat. What do you mean, it's my loss? It was going to be your loss anyways. Huang Shaoshan grinded his teeth. He didn't seem calm, but at this moment, his silver weapon Ice Rain pierced through Lord Grimm's heart, striking the fatal blow. 16%. That was the amount of damage Yi Zhu had been able to deal against Troubling Rain through his counterattack. It was already quite an impressive number. The spectators felt a bit disappointed at Huang Shaoshan. Quite a few people felt like Huang Shaoshan's performance was rather poor. If he had been a bit tougher and directly traded, he definitely wouldn't have lost that much health. But the true experts knew better. No one could have handled it better than Huang Shaoshan did. Yi Zhu's final words weren't meaningless trash talk. If Huang Shaoshan had been a fierce and relentless warrior that traded, perhaps the amount of damage he would have taken would have been above Yi Zhu's expected number. The opponent was Yi Zhu. Those who thought Huang Shaoshan could have done better were all blabbering armchair experts. As Yi Zhu came down from the stage, the stadium was filled with applause. His Lord Grimm had started off with 44% health, and in the end, he was only able to trade it for 20% of his opponent's health. It looked like a loss, but glory was never about pure numbers. Yi Zhu hadn't disappointed anyone. He had been suppressed to the point of suffocation, yet he had still been able to beautifully bare his fangs and fiercely bite his opponent back. If it had been anyone else facing Huang Shaoshan's dominating play, they would have most likely given up. What's more, Yi Zhu had already taken down two of the opposing side's players. Huang Shaoshan had been his third opponent. Applause. His performance was absolutely deserving of such fervent applause. That was what every happy fan thought. As they clapped, they were afraid that they weren't loud enough and continued to clap louder. As Yi Zhu walked back to his seat, the applause crescendoed, becoming louder and more resonant. Good work. All of Happy's players stood up and welcomed Yi Zhu. The rest is up to you guys, Yi Zhu said. No pressure. Fang Rui grinned. Happy's second player appeared on the big screen. Mo Fan, deception. No pressure, right? Little Mo. Fang Rui hollered. Mo Fan had already left. He didn't even look back. It's the playoffs, and he's still gotta act like that. Fang Rui mumbled. Chen Guo wasn't feeling as playful as Fang Rui. Mo Fan. He was the first of Happy's rookies to stand on the playoff stage. How will he perform? Will he be nervous? WuxaWorldAudio.com. Will he make mistakes? His first opponent is Huang Shaoshan. Such a large step won't be too challenging, right? Chen Guo stared at Mo Fan's back. Because Mo Fan practically never talked, she had no idea what he was thinking. She could only worry more. Happy's second player is Mo Fan, Pan Lin introduced. He's a very patient but also very explosive player. Patience came from Mo Fan's incomparable patience in seeking opportunities. Explosiveness came from the mere 3 ways he knew how to attack. Speaking of which, Mo Fan and Huang Shaoshan are similar players. Li Yibo said. I guess so. Pan Lin said. There's a clear difference between them though. Yes. Both are adept at seeking opportunities. But in comparison, Mo Fan is better at waiting while Huang Shaoshan is more proactive, Li Yibo said. Of course, if the team competition came and all he did was wait, how could he do well? Pan Lin said. In the end, they come from different places. The habits that Mo Fan acquired aren't easily eliminated. Li Yibo said. Mo Fan's background was no secret. Anyone who played fairly often in the heavenly domain knew of the infamous scrap picker deception. Then let's see how this match will turn out, Pan Lin said, showing his interest in the match. The new match began. Troubling Rain had 80% of his health. With Huang Shaoshan's identity as a god against a rookie, this 20% disadvantage was nothing. The vast majority of people favored Huang Shaoshan to win this match. But Mo Fan couldn't be underestimated. After all, he had the glory of defeating a god like Sun Xiang. No one could ignore the possibility of an upset. A scrap picker from the game. And now he was standing on the playoff stage. Many spectators had complicated feelings. No one had any good feelings towards scrap pickers. However, it had been a while since they had seen someone walk out from the game and make it to the biggest stage in the pro scene. Tangra and Steamed Bun and all the other rookies had obviously started off in the game, but none of them had the fame that Deception had when he joined the pro scene. Once a player's fame reached a certain level, the club guilds would immediately notice and recruit them. These players would most likely step onto the professional stage before being able to achieve much of a reputation in the game. But Mo Fan was different. He had ignored countless offers and accumulated enormous fame before being pulled into the pro scene by Yi Xiu. A legendary scrap picker wasn't a good reputation though. If not for this point, Mo Fan would have perhaps been an incomparably popular player, because he was someone who had truly been born from them. He would have been a symbol of the grassroots community, the King's Avatar. Chapter 1400 Mo Fan's Plan. Audio source, wuxia-world-audiobook.com. Chapter 1400 Mo Fan's Plan. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. The match officially began. The map was chosen by Team Happy, so Mo Fan was no stranger to it. He immediately chose to take a roundabout route through the right path, just like Yi Xiu did last match. Huang Shaoshan did the same as last match too, taking the direct path to the center. The only difference was that this time, Huang Shaoshan wasn't nearly as quiet as last match. As soon as his character loaded in, he began cheerfully chatting away with Mo Fan. Swoosh, 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 words filled the screen, but not a single response came from Mo Fan, not even a punctuation mark or an emoji. Wow, so quiet. You're not saying anything? Kid, don't be nervous. Think of this as a normal match. Chatting is a way to relax. Huang Shaoshan was like a benevolent senior, kindly lecturing his junior. However, Troubling Rain's Ice Rain told a different story as it glimmered from time to time. On the big screen, Huang Shaoshan's viewpoint was constantly shifting, carefully taking note of the sides of the road. No one had any doubts that the moment he met Mo Fan's deception, any sort of kindness would disappear. After several of Happy's matches, everyone had a certain understanding of the maps that Happy liked to choose. The map layout was usually rather simple. There would be a wide path through the center, directly connecting the spawn points on both sides. It also served as a dividing line for the map. As for the left and right, or the east and west ends, consisted of two types of terrain. The north and south usually had a certain symmetry to it. For example, Huang Shaoshan had chosen the middle path directly to the center, and there were numerous ambush spots along the road. Yi Xiu always took advantage of these spots, and Mo Fan took advantage of these as well. The two sides are getting close, Pan Lin said. In these situations, a bird's-eye view of the map was usually displayed so that the viewers could see the two characters closing in. Which ambush spot is Mo Fan going to choose? To tell you the truth, I feel like Huang Shaoshan has pretty much understood this map. No matter which side Mo Fan chooses to ambush from, it's going to be difficult to surprise Huang Shaoshan, Pan Lin said. Yes, Huang Shaoshan has chosen the central path like before, probably for this reason. He has a good understanding of the left and right side of this path. If he chose to directly fight from the east or west wings, there are probably gaps in his knowledge of the terrain there. As a result, it's better to choose to fight in the places he's most familiar with. Li Yibo said. From what you're saying, Mo Fan, who's trying to ambush Huang Shaoshan, is the one at the disadvantage. Pan Lin said. If he insists on his current plans. But he should be aware of it. Even if he doesn't have enough experience as a rook, I believe the others in Happy would have reminded him, Li Yibo said. No one knew of Mo Fan's personality other than those in Team Happy. From the matches, people could see that he didn't like to talk, but how could they know that he was more quiet than even Zhou Zekai? It was like he was determined not to communicate. As for what Li Yibo just said, Happy had obviously reminded him. Fang Rui, Su Mucheng, and Saron all tried. In the end, they only got one word out of Mo Fan, okay. But as soon as Mo Fan started the match, he still chose to take a roundabout route and look for a spot to ambush Huang Shaoshan. Happy's Fang Rui had jumped to his feet when he saw it happen. This punk only knows how to act cold. He didn't listen to anything I said. Fang Rui shouted. He probably has his own plans. Su Mucheng said. Mo Fan's dislike for talking wasn't fake, but he didn't reject other people's opinions. At first, he had been at heads with Yishu, but his attitude towards him slowly changed. The others didn't need to be said. If he didn't want to listen to her and Fang Rui, then he would have just left instead of staying to listen. Even if all they got was in. Okay, he definitely took their words seriously. Was Mo Fan the type of person who would elaborate? That punk, I wonder what he's got in mind, Fang Rui said. The two sides grew nearer and nearer, but Mo Fan still hadn't picked a spot yet. What's wrong? Is Mo Fan not able to find the right spot because he's nervous? Pan Lin said. I feel like it should be because he's not in a hurry to find a spot. Li Yibo said. It looks like he knows that his opponent has seen through the ambush spots along the central road, so he doesn't plan on doing this sort of ambush. Then why'd he bother taking the roundabout route? Pan Lin said. He at least won't get into a direct confrontation that way. Li Yibo said. Okay, let's keep watching, Pan Lin said. 5 seconds later, Pan Lin suddenly thought of something. Hey. Right, let's take a look at Mo Fan's equipment. Of course. Li Yibo slapped his forehead. He had forgotten too. Everyone had been completely absorbed into Yishu's pace that they forgot that Happy had upgraded their equipment. Quite a few of Lord Grimm's equipment had changed. What about Mo Fan's deception? When the characters loaded into the map, they forgot to check. Level 80. The cameraman cut to a list of Deception's equipment. Silver equipment didn't need to be clicked on. After all, the stats were all hidden. Only the name and the level were shown on the list. The weapon was the most important, so it was listed first. Ninja Blade, 16 leaves. 16 leaves, what a strange name. Pan Lin mumbled. The Glory system automatically came up with a name for silver equipment. Sometimes it would match the stats or the characteristics of the piece of equipment, and sometimes the meaning was more implicit and required more thought to understand the logic. All in all, the name didn't mean much. However, it was unquestionably another piece of level 80 equipment. Deception's boots, emblem, and cape were also level 80 equipment. He had fewer than Lord Grimm, but it wasn't anything strange for the core character to have more. Speaking of which, we haven't really felt a difference in Lord Grimm's equipment. Pan Lin suddenly thought. In the beginning, everyone wanted to know how much stronger Lord Grimm would be with his set of level 80 equipment, but after fighting 3 rounds, they didn't see it giving Yi Xiu a huge advantage. Everyone felt like if Lord Grimm didn't have the upgraded equipment, the outcome still would have been similar. Lord Grimm's increase in attack power is very obvious. The minute changes in his other stats don't seem as obvious right now. The bonus stats on the Myriad Manifestations Umbrella's various forms isn't clear either. WushOurWorldAudio.com. As for the added-on skills, we've so far seen the laser beam from the gun form and the priest's wish prayer. Yi Xiu isn't holding back, is he? Pan Lin suddenly had a feeling. The high-level skills tacked onto the Myriad Manifestations umbrella make up the core of how he does battle. I believe that Team Blue Rain definitely wants to find out which high-level skills the current Myriad Manifestations umbrella has, but in the end, Yi Xiu's only used 2. There's too many that haven't been used. Blue Rain can only be wary of them in the team competition. Pan Lin said. That's right. Li Yibo nodded his head. Yi Xiu won beautifully in the group arena, but the information he gave out was rather small. I wonder how much Blue Rain's gotten out of it. But the skills added onto the Myriad Manifestation umbrella's various forms must be a headache for them. Right now, Huang Shaoshan's Troubling Rain and Mo Fan's Deception have passed by each other. Sure enough, Mo Fan decided to ambush Huang Shaoshan. Pan Lin returned to the match. Troubling Rain's movements have become more careful. It looks like Huang Shaoshan is very clear as to what possible ambush spots there are in his surroundings. Coach Lee. If that's the case, then when they first started, for a length of time, it wasn't possible for him to ambush, yet if I remember correctly, Huang Shaoshan had still been carefully taking precautions. Pan Lin suddenly became doubtful. That wasn't taking precautions. That was him giving his teammates more information on the map. Li Yibo said. Oh, so that's what it was. It really makes you feel like they're a very attentive team. Pan Lin sighed. Yes, Li Yibo said. On the battlefield, Troubling Rain had rushed past Deception's coordinates and continued to push forward. As for Deception, he began quietly heading to the edges of the central road as if he wanted to choose an ambush spot. Is he planning on acting out when Huang Shaoshan retraces his steps after not finding anyone? Pan Lin guessed. Li Yibo shook his head but didn't say anything. He had no idea what Mo Fan was planning. What exactly is this punk thinking? Quote, let alone Li Yibo, even Mo Fan's teammates, who had a better understanding of Mo Fan, were wondering the same thing. But then afterwards, Mo Fan still didn't choose a spot. It was just that after moving along the edges of the central road, he began running towards Troubling Rain. Is he trying to do a back attack? Pan Lin wondered. The back was the biggest dead angle. It also came with bonus damage, so circling around to the back to mount a sneak attack was the most advantageous option. But because of this, pro player would always be on guard for their rear, especially in 1v1s without any teammates to rely on and when no information was known on the opponent's position. I hope he's not just planning on sneaking up from behind. Huang Shaoshan is on guard against it, Yi Xiu said. Yes, when he looks left and right, he can also see behind him out of the corner of his eye. Even though he's not looking carefully, it's more than enough as a precaution against back attacks, Fang Rui said. Hearing their worries, Chen Guo suddenly became nervous. Seeing Deception catching up to Troubling Rain, she really wanted to jump over there and yell in his ears. Be careful. Don't go up like that. You punk, where are you hiding? You're so patient. You're still not going to show up. Huang Shaoshan said, it's been so long already. Do you want a yellow card? Referee, give him a yellow card. Huang Shaoshan continued to type. The yellow card immediately appeared to Huang Shaoshan. Huang Shaoshan didn't retort and defend himself. He already knew why he had been given the yellow card. This was the playoffs, not the All-Stars. Even if the referee knew that he was just joking around, trying to lead the referee to make a call was absolutely an offense. As long as it was attempted, the player would definitely be penalized. Look, I ate a yellow card for you. Why don't you hurry up and come out? Huang Shaoshan didn't dare mention the referee again and started typing madly towards Mo Fan. End chapter.